So in order to use transformations, this chart makes things a lot easier. So please pause this and either write this information down, and I can highlight what's important here for you, or you can pause it and take a picture of it. This is from page 217 in your book. So you can find it on page 217. And this is what's important, that a translation looks like that, a reflection, here's your little formula. And dilations we're not going to work too much with yet. So these are the ones that are super important. There's specifics related to these as well. So again, this comes from page 217. So look at the example I wrote on the right. Point A is at 1, 3. I can transform this point any way I want right now. So say this is a point off of a triangle which has 3 points. I can move this triangle any which way I want. If I'm told to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise, rotating 90 degrees clockwise, if I memorize this chart, then I know that my point is going to become 1, negative x based on the information right here. Y, negative x, not 1. Y, negative x, based on the information from the chart right there. So, what that means is that my new point A, so my A prime, has to start with the y. Well, the y was 3 from the original point. Okay, and the x value is going to become the opposite sign based on this formula. It says negative x. So that means that my 1 will go here, but it has to be the opposite sign, so it's negative 1. Okay, and that we can do that with anything. So if I want to reflect, if I would like to reflect point A, 1, 3, over the y-axis, then I'm looking at this formula up top, negative x, y. So what that means is that my new A prime will be a negative x, so that's the opposite x value, so instead of 1 it's going to be negative 1, and it's still going to be y, so the y isn't changing, so that's going to be 3. A different scenario that could happen is you could be given a point, such as A being 2, 4, and A prime as negative 4, 2. And we're asked to see what transformation happened. So say this was on a graph even, and you're just looking at these 2 points, and it changed from 2, 4, and the new point was over at negative 4, 2. And we need to know what happened, what transformation occurred. So you want to look at what happened for the x and the y. So originally, here's my x and my y. But the x moved, the 2 moves over to the y spot. So that was my old x, and the y became the opposite sign. So I'm looking for a transformation that has negative y, x. But if I memorize them, then I would know that negative y, x is a rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise. It's right here, negative y, x. Okay, if we're given a problem like problem 5 here, where we have our points A, B, and C, and we have our A prime, B prime, C prime. You don't even have to draw the pre-image and image. You can still identify the transformation without doing so. So I want to teach you how to do that to save time. So if you look at A is negative 3, 2, and then you look at A prime, we can see that from the A to the A prime, what happened was the x became the opposite sign. So I'm going to write that as negative x, and the y remained the same. Okay, so negative xy. So then I'm going to go to my chart and see which transformation had negative xy. So if you can kind of see, buried in here, the negative xy is right, let me pick a different color here. Negative xy is a reflection across the y-axis, where the y remains the same and the x becomes the opposite. You just want to be sure that pattern continues. So if you look at point B, the y to b prime, the y remains the same as -1, and the x went from -1 to +1. It changed sign, so the pattern continues, and so therefore it really is the reflection across the y. I'd like you to try number 10. Pause the video, try it, and then hit continue to see the answer. So when doing this, I noticed that j to j prime, the x changed signs, but the y, crazy things happened. So then I looked at my k values, and from 0 to 4 for the x, it didn't change signs, so something is being added instead. And so from 2 to -2 to 2, that would be +4 on the x, and the y from 3 to 1 would be subtracting 2. So now I can check with my k value. From 0 to 4, it was +4, so that's correct, and 3 to 1, it was -2. So this transformation is a translation, and that's the rule that's given, x + 4, y - 2.